If you've ever dreamed of having a peaceful, crystal clear pond in your backyard, one that attracts wildlife, brings beauty to your space, and doesn't turn into a smelly, algae-filled mess, you're in the right place. G'day, I'm Kev. I help people build and maintain backyard ponds without spending a fortune. This quick guide is going to walk you through the core things you need to understand to get started: filtration, water movement, plants, fish, maintenance, all the stuff that actually matters. And if you're new to all this, don't worry. I've got free tools to help you plan your pond, size your filter, and even choose the right pump. You'll find all that on my website, ozponds.com, along with my email list where I share exclusive pond tips and updates. So let's dive in. Let's start with biological filtration. If there's one thing that will make or break your pond, it's getting the biological filtration right. Forget expensive filters or chemicals. Nature already has the best system in place. A healthy pond relies on beneficial bacteria to break down waste and keep your water clear and balanced. These bacteria live on surfaces like rock, gravel, and plant roots, and they love oxygen. Here's the basic process of how they work. Fish and decaying plants release ammonia into the water. Bacteria convert ammonia into nitrite and then nitrate, and plants absorb that nitrate as food, removing it from the water. If there aren't enough bacteria or enough surface area and oxygen, algae jumps in and takes over, and that's where things go green and gross. It's one of the reasons why I'm a huge fan of bog filters. They're basically mini wetlands packed with gravel, plants and bacteria, just like nature. They're low maintenance, super effective and easy to DIY. Bog filters are a real powerhouse of a filter because they're big, which means more surface area and more bacteria than most other pond filters that you buy off the shelf. But if you don't have space for a bog filter, no worries, there are other options. And I've made videos and written articles about them. But the key takeaway right now is this: growing beneficial bacteria and giving them enough surface area and oxygen is the single most important thing any pond owner needs to understand. You get that right and the rest becomes much easier. So let's move on to water movement and the role of pumps. Now, it is possible to build a pond without water movement or a pump, but let's be honest, it's going to be much easier and way more effective if you have one. A lot of people worry about running a pump 24/7, but there are plenty of energy efficient options available these days. I've listed my go-to choices over at ozponds.com. Right now I've got 13 pond pumps running full time, probably more, I lose count. And yes, I've even made videos breaking down exactly what they cost to run. I'll link one in the description if you're curious. Running your pump continuously helps in a big way. It delivers a steady supply of water and oxygen to your biological filter, so those beneficial bacteria can keep doing their thing. Moving water also interacts with air, becoming naturally oxygenated, which helps the whole ecosystem thrive. The size of the pump depends on your pond setup, how big it is, whether you're running a bog filter, adding a waterfall, or flowing into a stream. And I've put together a full blueprint that includes all the formulas and calculations I use in my own pond designs. And if math isn't your thing, I've also created a personal chatbot that can do the math for you. Once you've chosen your pump, where you place it matters. We want it to help remove solid materials like leaves and fish waste, and we want it to stay clear of blockages so you don't need to constantly clean it. That's why I often build skimmers, intake bays, or use a negative edge. And I've made videos and blog posts on each of those, and there's included drawings in the pond formulas blueprint. Even if your pond is already built, it's possible to retrofit these elements to dramatically reduce maintenance and improve water quality. The takeaway is, circulating water from your pond to your filter and back is one of the most powerful things you can do to build a clean, low-maintenance ecosystem. Next, let's talk the power of plants. Every pond can benefit from the addition of plants. As we've already covered, the breakdown of fish waste and organic material, along with the work of beneficial bacteria, creates nitrogen in the water. And that nitrogen is a fantastic plant food, and unfortunately, algae loves it too. So if you don't want algae to win, give the nutrients to the plants instead. Aquatic plants soak up the nutrients, help shade the pond, which can slow algae growth, and keep the water temperature more stable. They also add beauty, oxygen, and habitat for wildlife. One of the big challenges in some ponds is that certain fish or animals love to eat aquatic plants. This is another reason I love bog filters. They're often separate from the main pond, so they give bacteria and plants a safe place to do their job without being munched on by over-enthusiastic herbivores. The types of plant you're going to use will vary depending on your climate and what's available in your area. I've made a few plant-focused videos if you want to see what I use, but here's the idea. You want to go for variety. Don't rely on just one or two types of plants. Have a mix of floating, marginal, and submerged species, and that'll give you the best results, both visually and functionally. And when planting in a bog filter, you don't need any pots, just rinse off the soil and plant them straight down into the gravel. Easy as. Next, let's talk fish and other animals. Adding fish or other animals to your pond can bring it to life, but it is crucial to understand that more animals mean more waste, which means more nutrients in the water. And that puts extra pressure on your filter system and can quickly lead to algae or water quality issues. As a beginner, I strongly recommend understocking your pond. This gives you a safety margin if things go sideways, and it's much easier to maintain. We also want to make sure our animals have enough room to grow and thrive. Feeding is another common trap. Most beginners overfeed because it's fun and seems like a good idea, but too much food leads to poor water quality and sick fish. Your pond has natural food sources, and a little goes a long way. So the key message here is the more fish you have, the more often you feed them, the more likely you are to run into issues. Less is more if you want a healthy, low-maintenance pond. If you overload the system, you'll be battling algae and cloudy water non-stop. Next, let's talk maintenance. If you set everything up right, pond maintenance becomes pretty easy, and in many cases, less work than your regular garden. The goal is to let the biological processes do the heavy lifting. That means not over-cleaning. When it does come time to flush or rinse your filter, always use pond water, never mains water. Tap water usually contains chlorine or chloramine, both of which are designed to kill bacteria. Great for drinking water, but not so great for your pond's ecosystem. But you will need to top up your pond from time to time due to evaporation. If I can, I prefer to use rainwater. It's the closest thing to pure water. Mains water can contain not just chlorine, but phosphates too, which algae love. If I'm just doing a small top-off, I don't usually worry too much. But if I need to do a big refill and I don't have any rainwater stored, I'll add a water conditioner to treat the tap water. Even with a good filtration system, you may occasionally need to remove sediments that build up in the bottom of the pond. A fine mesh net or a pond vacuum can help with that. Again, I've got videos and articles on ozponds.com if you want to take a deeper dive. When it comes to bog filters, I like to give mine a flush about once a year, although sometimes I've gone 2 years. Every pond is a little bit different, and as you gain experience, you'll get a feel for when it's time. The plants will also need some occasional thinning out. Roots can grow aggressively, and if left unchecked, they can clog up your filter or stream and even cause leaks. And even if your pump is running perfectly, I recommend checking it at least once a year to make sure it's clear and working efficiently. And let's also talk about water parameters. As a beginner, you might be tempted to test for everything: ammonia, nitrites, pH, hardness, you name it. And there's nothing wrong with doing that, especially early on. I used to do it too. But I've learned over time that it's better not to chase numbers. If your filtration is set up right, you're not overstocked and you're not overfeeding, your pond will find its natural balance. So watch your pond, not just your test kit. Look at the plants, the clarity, the behaviour of your fish. That'll tell you everything you need to know. The bottom line is, when your filtration's properly sized and you're working with nature, the effort you need to put in is minimal. Now, I know all this may seem a little bit overwhelming, especially if you're trying to take it all in at once. And that's why I've created a few free tools to help you work through the process at your own pace. You can grab the free planning bundle, which includes calculators, checklists, and other resources that'll walk you through everything from sizing your bog filter to choosing a pump. Just head over to ozponds.com, pop in your email address, and I'll send it to you. And if you're ready to dive deeper, I've also put together a paid blueprint, and that's the exact formulas I use. This is the system I use to build my own ponds, and it's been used by other people all over the world. Inside you'll also get access to diagrams, videos, the KevBot chat assistant, and a private community where you can ask questions, share progress, and get support. I hope this video and the resources I've created help you build a pond you'll love, one that stays clean, clear, and low maintenance. If you found this helpful, there's another video you might want to check out next. I'll pop it up on the screen. Thanks for watching. See ya.